January 10th, 2023 commission. And I'd like to welcome our new elected commissioner, Mr. John Aguilar. Thank you. And also our commissioner, Joe Gonzalez, isn't here yet, but he got re-elected also. He'll be here in about 15 minutes. We have a lot to cover, so we got to move forward. Invocation. Adrian, would you do that for us today?
Certainly.
Stand, please.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for being able to be here today, being blessed to be here to do the work of the people. We ask that you grant us wisdom, and especially for our elected officials, to do what they've been elected for and to do what's right in their hearts. Please protect those who are less fortunate than us and help us to always have charity. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of Mexico and the state of riches in the agriculture. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Aguilar.
Here.
Commissioner Secretary.
Good morning, ma'am. I'm here.
Commissioner Duggins. Commissioner Gonzalez. Commissioner Martinez.
Present, ma'am. Commissioners, you were sent the agenda. Do you have any comments on the agenda, or do you want to recommend any changes? Or if not, I will need a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion, sir.
Motion by Commissioner Secretarial. I need a second.
Second that motion.
Second by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. Item 7, approval of minutes of December 13th. Did you have a chance to review the minutes, commissioners, on your packet? They were on your.
Yes, I did. I will go ahead and make that motion, sir.
Motion by Commissioner Secretarial to approve the minutes. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, minutes of December 13th, 2022 are approved. And Madam Clerk, thank the young lady that does them for us. Thank you.
I will, thank you.
Committee reports, acknowledge department reports. 1, detention center. You have a written report in your packet. Any questions from the commissioners that are present?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. The next one is the DWI SCCAP. Athena?
Morning, Commissioners and everybody. My name is Athena Gasumas from the Socorro County Community Alternatives Program. And today, later on the agenda, you will see that I'm requesting the ability to write for the RISE grant and for our annual DWI grant, which includes 3 grants, which is a grant distribution and detox. So I'm asking for approval to write for those 4 grants later on this morning. So thank you. And the biggest issue, of course, in our community continues to be fentanyl. I will be in Santa Fe next week for the whole week, and we will be discussing some of those issues and how we can better move forward to support our community that is suffering under the addiction of fentanyl. So thank you so much and welcome.
Thank you, Athena. EMS ordinance verbal.
Good morning, Commissioner. This is Gail, your
Good morning.
emergency manager for the county. The GIS department is getting ready to upload the data so that we will be putting our mapping online, which is a huge step for our county. The assessor's office is done the heavy lifting on this, and Elaine is finishing out some stuff, and we'll be setting that up this week, hopefully. And the ordinance officer has been doing a bang-up job. You guys get reports from him all the time. We got a new communications officer, and he's sliding into the position very well, very retired, so he got to sit with me for a couple of weeks and learn from him. And so he's taken on a lot of the tasks that Brent was doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Go ahead, Manager.
Thank you, Chair Martinez. Chair Martinez, Commission. I know in my manager's report, there is addressing the complaint. There's actually some action taken after a meeting we had on processes and procedures. I'd like Gail to give you her part, her department's part, and the animal control officer's actions this weekend. There was a training rodeo type event.
Yeah, they had a roping event at the rodeo grounds, and Jose spoke with the owner and had a nice conversation with him. There were no ordinance violations. He did a noise check out there. The road actually has more traffic noise than the arena had, so that was it.
Thank you, Mike, for bringing it. Road Department. Art, do you have anything?
No, I'm good.
As well, I'm answering some questions on 270 and processes that we're going through right now, but I believe Art's supposed to meet with Virginia Alguire. You want to talk about that? And BLM, because I talked to Chance yesterday from BLM. If we could get that part covered, and I'll cover some more.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm supposed to meet up with Virginia sometime this week, and we can go out there to ride in. Then we can fill in that hole. If we can work together and have our two loads out there to get some kind of feel. Or just get it out the oil. Everything else good, and all the striping is done. All the projects. And we're catching up on our cleaning our cattle guard. Well, finished up on Friday. Now we're doing the east side. And everything else is good.
First of all, on that, I'm glad you're meeting with the BLM on that issue on Bernardo area. Is there a way we can contact the man that was at that meeting to let him know that something's gonna get done? Because he had pictures, and that way he knows what we're doing. Because it was pretty bad in the area there.
Steve Burundi,
Yes,
we'll reach out to him. There's still some other steps that we're taking, so we'll give him an update.
yeah, that way he knows what's going on.
Yeah, we put reflectors in everything, so make sure that people don't fall in that hole.
Yes.
And, we fixed it up pretty good that people can get in and out with these.
Okay, and thank you again, you and the manager, for striping the roads that we chip seal. It makes a difference. I'm asking, the mayor called me yesterday. We did not stripe from US 60 to our area of responsibility by the dorms, and he's willing to pay for it. So can you get that done?
Yeah, I'll get the mileage and then I'll send them I'll get an invoice for them and see if they can make a deal for a sandbar and send them out there.
Okay, as soon as possible, because that's a school crossing. A lot of kids cross that street, and that's where the issue is, he said. So we can take care of that, because he said he'd pay for it. We'll get it done.
Okay, no problem.
And on your hiring, what's the status on your hiring your employees, the ones that you have openings?
Okay, yeah, get them on board.
Good.
Thank you, Chair Martinez, Commission. Thanks, Art. On the two people they interviewed, I believe 3, and gave the scoring to me. As you know, I'm going through a transition in HR, so I'm handling I usually do backgrounds and other checks as well, but I'm handling that portion, and then we'll make a decision based on what's best for the county and the organization, and then submit them for physicals and stuff like that. So that's where we're at.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Art. Socorro County Extension Office. Did you read the packet? Any questions? Okay,
Chair Martinez.
Yes. yes, ma'am.
This is Betty Cabello, the county clerk. I was just wanting to remind our elected officials, and I'll send out another email today. Yesterday, the 9th, was the last day for anybody to submit their candidacy for the New Mexico Counties Association. So we did have one candidate. Our voting will take place on Thursday, January 12th. Only elected officials may participate in this election. So our office hours will be from 8 to 5 for those elected officials to come in and vote for that candidate on to serve on the New Mexico County Association board
What day is it?
on Thursday, the 12th, from 8 to 5. And it's a very, very small election. I will send out reminders to all the other elected officials to please come in and vote on that day. Then we'll send out the information to the New Mexico County Association of our New Mexico County representatives that will be representing Socorro.
Thank you. Commissioner.
Sorry I'm late. No excuses, I just lost track of what day it was.
We're in item B, acknowledge manager's report, verbal. Mike?
Thank you, Chair Martinez, Commission. I was asked to, usually I address several after action commission items. One is use of our millings on county roads rather than selling them. We actually do both. We not only sell millings, we also sell millings to community members that are in desperate need of augmenting either their driveways or some other areas that their soil needs that type of additional protection. We actually do use it on our county roads as well whenever we identify the need. So we are doing both of those, and that's always been my process and philosophy since we started doing that. The status of County Road 270 is we reported on some of it. I talked to Virginia yesterday because I had talked to her about the San Antonio drainage project, and it looks like the appraiser will be there on Friday. The county can't be there as their federal rules disallows that, but we did talk about 270. I also talked to Chance Atwood yesterday, or actually on Sunday, and again last night at San Antonio Mutual Domestic, and meeting to try to outline what BLM wants to do and or are they going to allow it. Also involved in that is Mr. Gianni and Mr. Barandi. Mr. Gianni had mentioned that he would be willing to finance some of the road stuff, and Mr. Barandi wanted us to start using some millings and or do some other work. So we're moving along with that as we clarify with BLM what their responsibility is and or what we can be allowed to do, or if they want to contract with us. I believe the direction was too that if the commission, when they're talking about roads today, starting the discussion with the LGRF projects coming up, and we have to submit that by, I'd like to have it settled on your roads by no later than the first meeting in February, if that's possible, because the deadline is the 1st of March for LGRF. TPF are coming up, so if you want to identify 270 as one of those or both of those projects, I'll put in for it. You heard EMS Director Bill Tripp talked about the complaint in Bosque, and we're actually addressing that as far as we can. I don't know what they're doing as far as the zoning commission and the steps they have to take that we gave them and we outlined for them.
No. Mr. Chairman, just let you know, I have had discussions with Mr. Sandoval as well as the district attorney's office and regarding what steps they need to either implement their zoning or to disband.
Thank you.
Time clock status, the POs were signed off on and the 11 clocks will be here. We are now setting up trying to set up the training. It's going to be fairly extensive training and who's going to participate. Obviously, all the supervisors and then alternates will have to be trained on using it because it interacts with executive time. And then a payroll is created on that. So the training, we're trying to target first or second week in February, but I think it's going to be later than that because we have the document management program that we're implementing, and that's dedicated the 2nd and 3rd of February, and there has to be the departments that are going to be affected is the treasurer, detention center, emergency management, and detention office, and 2 offices in the managers, which is HR. Obviously, the manager's side where we have a lot of documents coming through. So, and then I have to select alternative people to enter information, but there's administrative authorities that have to be entered. So we're selecting personnel that will have that capabilities because we want to make sure our internal controls are tight. Ever since I've been here, work bids on the roads, we've always put in our bid or our estimates. We've always included striping and proper signage. There is the company that is usually contacted through either us or the road. A lot of times they will determine that they can't do striping because they have a process that says it has to be at least 28 foot wide. And even those, sometimes that they refuse to do that, we sort of convince them that it needs to be done anyway. So we get it done because it's included in our estimates and our cost analysis. Ever since I've been here, we put that in display. We did recently stripe a water canyon, like Art made reference to several other roads. Status of Escondido Lake. We still have $250,000 earmarked out of ARPA, and we're trying to see how much money we've spent and encumbered. I just reviewed it again out of the 2 tranches, and I have a further review because we're drilling down deep of what monies are actually left. And so I might be approaching the commission to see if we want to transfer some of those other funds that we had allocated that we haven't utilized, and we're moving on, because those funds need to be encumbered this year and maybe move it to the Escondido Lake. But I've met with the engineers. They should have some concepts, and architects. They should have some concepts to us by next meeting, crossing my fingers. I don't know if that's really gonna work, but we'll see. Knowing projects and design, I'm probably expecting it in February. Some of the concepts are added, what's called wet pads, expanding our dry pads to wet pads that mean fully all types of utilities, and upping the ampage to 50 amps instead of 20 or 40 because most RVs need that type of ampage. We didn't want to put showers in the restrooms because that adds to liability and slip damage and claims. We are looking at other sites around the lake. Those will be higher priced because obviously it's more and more utilities, plus it's a nicer scenery. looking at expanding where actually groups can come in, like the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, other people where they want to have group meetings, more coverage, aerating the lake so we can actually get trout in there instead of the fish we have now. So that project is moving along real well, and I made contact with an architect that says once the design is done, they actually have grant people on board that will write the grants for us, of course, for a fee, write the grants for us to go after monies to pay for the conceptual design that the commission will decide on based upon what's presented to them. So that's where that project's at. Some of the updates on San Antonio drainage and infrastructure. We're moving along. BLM appraisal is almost done. BLM meets with the appraiser on Friday, so we'll see. Once that's done, and we were forced to buy 20 acres instead of 10 because they switched midstream from a patent to wanting us to own it. Several other things that are going on there with identifying land and asking for easements. We've got most of those done. And CR 91 Kaya de Limitar, county finalized with one landowner. We had to switch landowners because one landowner had said they were going to put up a Starbucks and identified the land to be worth $180,000, so we moved away from that. The other landowner worked with us, and so that was purchased, and that was purchased with NMDOT funds, not county funds, which is allowable, and I make sure checking with NMDOT. And obviously we had to resurvey it, and that survey was paid out of that project fund as well. Shirley Bridge, this is something that I've met with the owners. Mr. Brazil was very receptive and gave us permission during construction and even after construction to have an easement. Because here's the two options: is we receive easements, then we can keep the old bridge in play while construction continues and put the new bridge to the northwest. If the owners don't give permission, then we have to destroy the bridge, deconstruct the bridge, and put it where it was. And what that causes is everybody coming in and out will no longer have that capability. They'll have to take that long detour around to enter and exit. Right now, one owner was very receptive and he already signed all the papers. The other owner I met with, and I've had several follow-up calls, and this time it does not look like Ms. Morris is willing to sign any easements. We will be presenting the commission something of what our options are. Let's see. 3 Tanks Road improvements. There, some of the geotech. Well, also on Sholey, we had to do a geohydrology report because one owner was concerned about the springs, so we got that all cleared. There's no problem with the Bow Springs there, a Bow Spring. 3 Tank Road improvements. Still pending some of the technologies at the geotech field, as well as some of the ortho photos that have to be done. I think they use LiDAR to make sure that they're not going to infiltrate or penetrate anything or disturb anything. So that's still being worked on. Further on San Antonio, we've submitted a lot of task orders through DEC. So the other phases are moving along very rapidly. And I'm hoping to have that done this year, as many phases as possible. We'll see how that goes. And I put Dennis Engineering in touch with Department of Transportation reference that replacement of that on and off ramp and the flooding, so make sure we're not spending money where we don't have to if the DOT's already did a flood study and what needs to be done. reviewed and answered multitude of IPRAs along with Jennifer, who also answers IPRAs. The amount of IPRAs we're seeing is astronomical, and they're getting more and more intricate as the days go by, and the amount of stuff we're looking for is very, very, very time consuming and pressing. So far we're keeping up, but there are some cases that some IPRAs that are taking 2-3 months to answer because of the amount of information they're asking for. Progress is continuing on countywide energy efficient project. If you saw the solar almost up, I don't know if you've seen in your SEC bill where we've taken photos, rebate checks that we're getting to help us with to pay the bills. As far as paying the bank on the loan for that is still existing. We also met with a representative that is going to help us file IRS rebates for energy efficiency, and that just came into play in 2023. So we think we're eligible. So we're going to have him work for us and pay for it out of obviously out of the energy savings dollars that we're going to have, because his fee is nominal compared to what type of savings that we're going to be eligible for. Held various broadband meetings still. That's still an issue that we're dealing with. Holding almost weekly meetings still on broadband. We still have $250,000 that we want to entice an ISP to come into the county. Met with director of senior centers program and Linda Modis and Gary from Summit referenced menu and quality of food and struggles throughout the nation and locally regarding supply chain issues, personnel, other issues. We issued a letter to Summit cutting ties with their support within the senior center. The senior centers will start transitioning to cooking at the senior centers. And we've made contacts with different foodstuff suppliers, as well as identifying a nutritionist that we have to utilize to make sure our menu is nutritionally sound, and it's mandated that it is. Met with Povodero Water regarding the ask for my assistance on filing for grants and other issues, and they had a very bad experience with the grant writer, and they wanted my opinion on how to deal with that, along with grant writing and some other issues. So I went out and helped them set up a swearing-in ceremony. Congratulations, Joe, appreciate it. Glad to have you here. Met with manager office personnel as well as finance regarding the division of processes and procedures regarding the HR officer and payroll responsibilities. As you know, our HR officer and payroll person is moving over to the sheriff's department as an administrative assistant, and I want to thank the sheriff for working with me and the other sheriff for working with me as we collaborate on that transition phase. Probably be a month-long process. We have several personnel that have picked up different responsibilities, dividing work. And so some of us have already taken on a great deal of that. And continue all the intricate work regarding the implementation of the compensation package that you passed. Almost there. So the idea is that it will be on the next paycheck. So within that, there's a lot of paperwork that has to be done, and the amount of employees we done, and then making sure everything matches as it should be. So that's being done as well. I think that's it. That's not really all it, but I think it's.
Thank you, Mike. Also, as a commission, I'd like to thank you for yesterday when we met for the legislative priorities. You gave a good presentation on our needs that we're requesting, the representatives and senators that were there. I'm glad that it was brought up that they need to have that meeting a little sooner, because next week we start the legislation. But at least they have an idea ahead of time what our needs are. Thank you for doing that. Thank you, of course. You can see all the stuff he's been working on. It's a lot of work to keep up with all of that. The salary, that salary package alone is a big deal. So, thank you. Okay, you covered almost all the other stuff, so the other item will be status of Bosque nuisance complaint by Al Sandoval.
I think I made reference to, I think Gail covered some of it, and everything else, I think the attorney made reference to, he's had conversation with him, and we've done everything ordinance-wise that we can do. I met with Gail and Jose, and we discussed and we reviewed what events they have coming up. They went out Sunday, did a decibel reading. I met with the sheriff's department. They checked see if there was blocked roadways at all. Checked with our GIS mapper, make sure that that road is a public road and not a private driveway. That way, if there was any blockage, that the sheriff's department would have that knowledge and take appropriate action. Everything went pretty smooth. There was no ordinance violations. It was in the day, so Jose has direction that he needs to go out and actually at night just to see if there is any light pollution. As it looks like now, from what we're seeing, it doesn't look like it, but we're gonna actually do another video at night to make sure that the ordinance isn't being violated as well. So that's where we're at on that.
Next item is acknowledge January birthdays. Commissioner's supposed to take that on. Joe, you're pretty good at that.
Happy birthday, everybody born in January. No, I don't have the list.
You done good, Commissioner.
Go ahead. Wife's birthday's not till May, so I'm off the hook.
Okay, here's the birthdays for January. Gonzalo Lopez, January 1st, Sheriff's Office. David Naranjo, Assessor's Office, January 2nd. Christopher Rico, Sheriff's Office, January 13th. Arthur Pahola, Senior Center, January 20th. Jaylene Martinez, Treasurer's Office, January 26th. Mary Helen Grego, Senior Center, January 29th. Happy birthday.
All right. Okay, thank you, Commissioners. Next item is acknowledge Commissioner's report. Let's start with you, Joe. Do you have anything to report? You have anything to report, Joe?
No, I just met with the senior advisory board, and they're taking on the responsibilities of Summit, as we voted on the last commission meeting. They say they're up to the challenge, and hopefully things will work out there. Hopefully we get some additional funding. See.
Good. Commissioner Secretary?
None at this point, sir.
John, you already started, so if you have any comments or anything you want to say? We'll go to 9, public comment. During this portion of our meeting, we welcome your suggestions and want to hear your concerns. This is not a question and answer period. Speakers will be limited to 5 minutes. The county commission is not able to take action on matters discussed during public comment. Speakers are requested to state their name for the record. Do we have any?
Yes, we do. We have a few. So we have Kirby Romero. If you would like to come up to me.
Hello,
Good morning.
Happy New Year, everyone. My name is Kirby Romero, along with Manny Romero and Rick Ahmed. And I reside at 339 Highway 116 in Bocc, New Mexico. And we're here just to let you all know why we have the events we have at our home.
Do you mind if I
No, go ahead, go ahead.
flyer for you guys?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so our family is part of the local rodeo community. And with that, we would like to provide a safe environment where families can come spend quality time loving the rodeo way of life. While providing that environment for our families, we're able to provide a facility to a local nonprofit therapeutic activity center focused around horses. The Therapeutic Riding Center is open to all. Its goal is to help everyone who needs it develop riding skills while improving physical, emotional, and social challenges to help build confidence and overcome challenges. The first page in your packet provided is contact information for the Executive Director of the Therapeutic Riding Center. The second page has information related to the Riding Center for any who are interested in reading more. The third page has a couple pictures of some kids participating in the therapeutic riding, along with the fourth page as well. The fifth page is a letter from the Executive Director of the Therapeutic Riding Center to any commissioner who may be interested as to how we help with the Riding Center. The sixth page is the name we gave the facility there at our home. The seventh page is an aerial view of the property with our home and arena. So as you all can see, Highway 116 is to the east of our property. The first pasture is to the north for extra parking if needed. To get to the main parking, you can take the road in front of our home to the west pasture. We'd like to show there is plenty of parking if needed. Starting with the eighth page, you will find some pictures of a few winners and thank yous of some who have come to participate in the events we've had at our home. As we are a family with young children, we try to be inside by 10 p.m. with minimal noise. We have purchased and installed a water system to keep any dust at a minimum, and we have all stalls cleaned regularly. If you all have any questions, Rick and Manny would be more than happy to answer them for you. And I want to thank all commissioners and everybody here for your time today.
Commissioners, do you have any questions?
I'll just ask, so is this the rodeo activity that the other people have been talking about? It's just totally some,
It
it is.
That's what.
That's what you do, it's not a rodeo where you have competitions and.
Well, it, for the youth and so for the therapy riding center, we do, advanced fundraising for the center.
Okay,
To feed the horses and take care of.
so the rodeos that happen support this activity?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I understand, thank you.
Believe me, we're not making any money.
Yeah.
I just have one comment, ma'am.
Yes.
I have a niece that has cerebral palsy.
Yes.
And when she rides a horse, as a person that brings a horse over, when you have that illness, you get real stiff. And they ride her on that horse, and when she gets off that horse, she loosens up.
Yes.
So it helps her.
Yes.
It helps her. So
Yeah, the center has, students that are wheelchair bound, and the facility is set up to handle that.
It's wheelchair accessible.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for
having
having
us.
Thank you for this print.
Yes, sir.
Good. Anybody else?
Yes, we do have, Mr.
My name is Rudy Delgado.
Delgado here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Rudy Delgado. I live up northern Socorro County. Maybe about 2,000 feet from the county line from Valencia. Gentlemen, I come here to try to improve the method 911 calls are handled. I've experienced several flaws in the process, not only recently, but through a number of years. I've seen ambulances lost. They don't know where they're going. Recently, I dialed 911. I waited 45 minutes for the ambulance to get there. The EMT told me that they were sending to Verita. I'm in Southern Nine. I found, after they got there, I told them, you know, they said they couldn't take me to Albuquerque. I asked to go to the VA when I called. They should have said something that they couldn't take me to the VA. So I sent them back and I had somebody else drive me to the VA. Recently, I had another episode where I needed to call 911, but I refused. I wasn't about to wait another 45 minutes and hopefully the ambulance wouldn't be lost. I drove myself, got a back ticket, but I drove myself to the VA. It took me 20 minutes. Took the ambulance 45 minutes to get there. To me, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense for them to bring it home for somebody else to take it back to Albuquerque. That doesn't constitute an emergency in my mind. I don't think. I should don't want a 911 operator dictating where I'm gonna go. In fact, a couple of weeks ago after surgery, I was coming back, was met up with an ambulance a few miles this side of the land. He was lost. So I'm thinking this is not only Socorro County, but also Valencia and the whole state. As most of the state is rural, we have to do something to help the people when they call 911. I think it's imperative. I also provide additional information for you guys as far as 911 calls. Also found a thing on the internet talking about that lady that lost her life that was locked in the trunk of the car here in Socorro. They went through that and they said that 911 system had failed to find the exact location. They said they were going through renovations and it since had limited cell phone tracking. Now, there's basic 911, there's enhanced 911, and there's next generation 911. I asked, last week I came and talked to Michael Hawks, I talked to Monette, I talked to the fire chief. I had talked to Tarango before, but I couldn't get through. And they all agreed that the system is broken and they want some type of improvement. I also talked this morning to Lady Martinez, who runs the one in Lee County. They're having a legislative session and a meeting for all the ones that handle 911 calls. I expressed my concerns and said they had the same problem before, but they already fixed it. And they asked if anybody from Socorro County would like to go over there and says, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. However, if they wanted to come into the meeting, I can show them what we did so we can improve it. I'm asking the commission to partner up with me, help me out, do something, because I think this is really a bad situation. It needs to be addressed and it needs to be fixed. I'm sure if one of your family members called 911 and the ambulance took that long, or they couldn't find you, you would be doing the same thing. So I'm asking if you can guys, you guys are one of the elected officials, you have more clout than I do, you have more people that you can talk to. If you can help me out with this thing, I really appreciate it. At least look into it. It's for all of us. It's not just for me. I tried, I really didn't want to bring this up. I didn't think it was a proper time. However, been trying to get a hold of my county commissioner, Craig Sapatero, and to no avail. Sure. Why did you, what motivated you to be a county commissioner?
Mr.
Mr. Delgado, your 5 minutes is up, okay? Your 5 minutes is up.
Thank you so much.
Wait a minute, no. Since you weren't on the agenda, we could only listen to your
I
issue.
understand. I understand.
I'm gonna request with the approval of the commission to put you on the agenda for the next meeting. That way, as a commission, we can pursue what we can do to solve
I
this
need
issue.
help, Brian.
So we'll put you on the agenda for the next,
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Jennifer, can you make sure that?
Yes, I just wrote it down, yes.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna piggyback on what he just said. Okay, the infrastructure on the east side of the river is in need of help, okay? I can help with setting up the EMT that would be close to your health center. Okay? I know this is not the time that you want to discuss it, but I can bring in proposals. I can bring in solutions. So you can put me on the next agenda as well.
You will have to request it, sir, and fill out the form.
Sir?
That way, if you bring proposals and stuff, the manager can review.
Chair Martinez. If I may, can you state your name for the record?
Yeah, Jeffrey Woods. I live 416 Luna Drive in Pagita. Actually, it's Los Nucleus, but we need to talk about that infrastructure that being neglected.
Okay, we'll have on the agenda January 24th.
Good.
Thank you. Anybody else, Jennifer?
That's it.
Okay, item 10. Consider resolution 2023-01, appointment of chairperson and vice chairperson. Commissioners, I need a motion to appoint the chairperson for this year. Any nominations?
Do we do it at the same time or just one at a time? Yes.
We'll do one at a time.
Well, I really like how take care of business, Mr. Martinez, Commissioner Martinez. So I'll nominate you for the president chair.
I'll second that nomination.
Okay, before I ask for a roll call vote, is there any other nominations? Commissioner? I know we have one guy gone, so with that said, can we have a roll call vote for the chair?
Commissioner Aguilar? Yes.
Yes.
Vice Chair Secretary?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
And Chair Martinez?
Well, I guess I can vote for myself. Yes, and thank you so much, Commissioners, for allowing me this privilege. It's a big honor. The next one is Vice Chairman. I need a motion to appoint the Vice Chairman.
I'll make the motion to keep the existing vice chairperson as the chairperson.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, before I ask for the vote, is no more nominations for the Vice Chair? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Aguilar?
Yes.
Commissioner Secretary?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
Chair Martinez?
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you. Congratulations, Commissioner.
And Mr. Chairman, if I might suggest, just for the record, would you have a motion and vote to adopt the entire resolution as filled out.
I need a motion to adopt the resolution as it's filled out.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez, second by Commissioner Secretarial. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you.
Hearing none, it's approved. Okay, item B, consideration resolution 2023-02, Open Meetings Act.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, before you is a resolution that's required by New Mexico Statute 1015-1. And what annually this board is required to determine when its meetings are, when its regular meetings are, as well as what constitutes published notice for regular meetings. The published notice for regular meetings is to place it on the website. Certainly you can change the notice requirements. However, we found this to be the most efficient and reach the most people. Before you, the meetings are the second and fourth Tuesday of each month, the first one at 9 and the second at 5. As the board, you have the right, certainly the right to change that and determine when your meetings are going to be. I know traditionally Socorro has had those days, however, the times have moved. So I certainly leave that's up to your discretion. All agendas do have to be ready 72 hours in advance unless it's an emergency. And an emergency, of course, you can meet to deal with it at any time. If you have any questions for me, please let me know. Otherwise, I think it's just really discussing the time is most important.
Commissioners, do you have any issues with the times for your meetings?
I have no issues. I move the time that we just keep it the way it is.
Okay.
Unless other people just want to have it in the evening. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter.
And the reason we have our second commission meeting at 5 o'clock is to provide the opportunity to the public that are working to come in to voice their opinions and stuff. So hearing that there's no issues, then I need a motion to approve resolution 2023-02 for the Open Meetings Act as is. Now,
So moved.
motion by Commissioner Gonzalez,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Secretarial. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the resolution 2023-02 Open Meeting Act is approved. Item C, consideration of resolution 2023-03 Public Participation Rules.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, this is a resolution that sets forth basically the rules of decorum for participating in the meeting with the constitutional limitations. Certainly you're not allowed to be threatening or abusive to people and that sort of thing. It's important that the other thing this does is discuss the public comment period. Now, what's important to note under the law, this is a meeting of the Board of County Commissioners, and only the Board of County Commissioners has the right to speak at a meeting, unless, of course, it's up to the chairman. There is no requirement under the law to have a public comment period. However, if you do have a public comment period, like this board has traditionally done, then it's important that you set a timeline so that everybody gets the same amount of time to speak. You certainly don't want, okay, well, we like the Boy Scouts, so the Boy Scouts get 10 minutes, and we don't like whatever it is.
Don't say Girl Scouts.
All right, nothing gross, but yeah, we don't like these people, so yeah, I just don't want to hear them past 1 minute. So it's important that everyone gets the same amount of time. This sets forth what has been in the last few years, which is 5 minutes. 5 minutes is longer than most commissions, but it certainly does give an adequate amount of time to speak. One other item on this that I would like this board to discuss, and would request that you discuss, there's no right or wrong answer, is that during the pandemic, this board has entertained a practice of receiving written public comment and then reading that into the record, or at times when we were able to do it, to even do it virtually, by telephone or by Zoom. I think it's important to decide whether or not you would like to have that practice continue, or whether or not you would require that people be at the county commission meeting to address you in person. There's no right or wrong answer. lots of commissions do it both ways. Some commissioners say, you know what, if I would like to, be able to look these people in the eye and, and have this discussion. And some people are would like the convenience of email or written. So that's up to you.
Okay, fellow commissioners, you heard the recommendations of our attorney. Any comments or anything you want to change or leave it as is?
The way it currently is, I put in here that you have to be here in person, but if you would like to remove that, just make that in the form of a motion when you adopt the whole thing, or leave it as is. It's completely at the discretion of the board. This is.
How do you feel, Commissioner?
I think we should, the pandemic was such a great time, I think we should just keep it that way. No, I'm just saying. Add where they can call in and stuff, because people in my community and they don't have the opportunity there. So I think we should add that they can do public comment.
I'll make that change.
Okay, good recommendation, Commissioner. Any other comments? Okay, I entertain a motion to approve resolution 2023-03, public participating rules.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez,
So are we gonna make that modification then?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will second with that modification.
second by Commissioner Sakura with a new addition to it. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2023-03, public participating rules is approved. Item D, consideration of resolution 2023-04, parliamentary procedure, Robert's rules.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this particular resolution sets forth the rules for governing this body as far as its meetings are concerned. Basically what it says is that you'll use Robert's rules as a guide. And what's important about that is the only people who know Robert's rules in and out are parliamentarians and 4-H students. So we don't want to be in a situation where something gets challenged or something dies because you didn't make the right motion at this time or that time, because but technical rules are very difficult to follow and they should not overcome what you're doing as for the people's business. However, it's a guide. But with that, there are specific exceptions to that this board considers that we believe to be important. One of which is that the chairman votes. In traditional Robert's rules, the chairman doesn't vote except for a tie. However, in this case, the chairman is elected by his constituents and they have a right to know how he votes and to show his constituents where he stands on certain issues. Another important matter is regarding the agenda. And what's important about that is that to create the agenda, it's the county manager is charged with creating the agenda and he puts on the agenda what he believes appropriate for county business. That said, any member of this board can call the county manager and request that something be placed on the agenda, because the agenda is controlled by this board, and its management, which also generally means no one from the public or doesn't matter if the president called down and said I would like to be on the agenda. No one else has a right to be on the agenda unless the commission so determines, unless you sponsor somebody. So that's an important rule. One additional aspect that we did put on this agenda was that this resolution, since you do have a right to place something on the agenda, it is adopting Robert's rules that if you vote in the minority, if you lose an item, let's say, I would like, some commissioner says, I would like a trip to Disneyland, and it gets voted down. So the next meeting, he says, well, I want that on the agenda again, and it gets voted down. I want that on the agenda again. What basically it says is you can't just keep putting things on the agenda for a year. We've never had that situation, but it's an important aspect of Robert's rules. With that, Mr. Chairman, I stand for any questions and for approval.
Any questions, commissioners? You heard all the issues, so I need a motion to approve resolution 2023-04.
So
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Secretarial, second by Commissioner Gonzalez. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, Resolution 2023-04 is approved. Preliminary procedures, Robert's rules. Item E, consideration of resolution 2023-05, working hours and paid holidays.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, our personnel policy requires that annually you determine what the general working hours are as well as the holidays. The general working hours are traditionally set at 8 to 5 p.m. as stated. Certainly, certain different emergency offices, or for instance, the detention center have separate hours, and that's reflected on here that those are set by the manager and those departments and offices, the sheriff's department, for example, depending on the need of those offices. The second thing that on this resolution of importance is setting the holidays. People generally are not aware that just because it's a federal holiday or just because the state has a holiday doesn't make it a county holiday. A county holiday is basically receiving pay for and not having to attend work. You have no obligation as this board to follow the state or federal holidays. You are determining what the holidays for this body are and for this county. You could theoretically, issue a bunch more holidays, and this commission typically has issued more holidays than what the state or the federal government has done. Conversely, this commission could say we're going to be a Grinch this year and all holidays are canceled. No Christmas. You have the right to do that as well. But before you are the traditional holidays that this board has adopted, and it's there for your consideration and discussion.
Commissioners, I have questions on the working hours. So according to the policy, most people are working from 8 to 5 with an hour lunch, correct, Manager?
So depending on the department and the department needs, that's like, so let's say we identify, the commission that authorizes 3 hours admin leave. So those 3 hours admin leave are figured into an 8 to 5 day a week. If there's a department that only does, let's say it falls on a Friday, if there's a department that already has a 4-day week, and they've already put in their 40 hours, they probably aren't going to have access to that 3 hours admin leave because they're already on an RDO. So that's one implication. The next implication is that if some departments, 8 to 5, and some delegate employees to stay during the lunch break, so they have alternating people covering lunch break. And that happens quite often, especially in the manager's office. And I know some of the other elected offices do the same as well. The 15-minute break states in there that you should try to take it according to Fair Labor Standards Act. You should try to allocate it as close to the middle of your shift, 4-hour shift, and then lunch break, then another 4-hour shift. But it's considered de minimis time and non-compensatory or non-cumulative, which means somebody that doesn't take a 15-minute break in the morning doesn't get to take 30 minutes in the afternoon. There are some situations where employees are allowed to flex a schedule within that 8 to 5 schedule. I have disallowed flex schedule because we don't have a policy in play as actually for flex schedule for employees to work after 5 if their common office hours are 8 to 5 in order to try to make time up. And that's why we have annual leave and sick leave and FMLA. So there's a lot of different implications, but for the most part, everybody tries to follow the 8 to 5, other than the detention center and the sheriff's department. In the case where some departments have contacted me when, let's say there's an event that they want to celebrate an employee either retiring or a birthday, and they're going to close down an office. So that's the one time that office might close for a lunch break. And if it goes past an hour, then all those personnel within that department are required to take annual leave. They can't take sick leave, it has to be annual leave. And or if they have, we offer 8 hours personal leave, which is for a birthday. So that happens as well. So it's on a case-by-case basis with the understanding office hours are 8 to 5, you need to be here. Any other accommodations are on a case-by-case basis.
And the road department is the only one that's on 410s, correct?
410s as the road department, and the detention center has some staggering shifts as well. I think actually some of them are on 12-hour shifts. And SCAPE is on a 410 schedule as well.
But they're covered, someone's there on whenever, it's not closed for one day. So they alternate.
It is closed on Fridays. And that was something that's been in play before I got here. So if you want me to look at that, then that's.
Wait a minute, let me understand this correctly. So the office is closed completely on Fridays, nobody's there?
We have a 24-hour on-call number, and if anything is needed on that Friday, somebody shows up. But it's been that way for a couple of years now, and all of our folks are very used to that. It's the type of work we do, and we have just found that due to the sort of stress of the individuals that we need, it just really helps our staff. And additionally, if we do need to go in, then we have a quiet day, and it's on our own time, just for paperwork and documentation and things. It's like one quiet day that we're allowed to have. For me, for instance, I'm usually the one that might be there. But if anybody ever needs anything, we have an on-call number and somebody shows up and we take care of business.
So it's them, the road department, and the detention center that have that option. And those are approved by the division director?
So the way it works is, well, so manpower dictates usually at the detention center, obviously have tons of people working tons of overtime because their manpower constraints. Sheriff's Department, same way. I think emergency management deploys that schedule. And that's the sheriff, SCAPE, and detention center. SCAPE that's been like that for a while.
I didn't know.
Yeah, so I know that was one of the issues with that. Apparently what I was told was helped with recruiting and retention because it's a high demand industry and a lot of strain emotionally, physically, behaviorally on personnel, and helps with retention and recruiting. Sort of like what we talked about yesterday with the senators and representatives about a long school day. I know that was one of the issues that was put into play. Again, that was pretty much already established a while back.
Okay.
But, if you want me to revisit it, I can revisit it.
Well, it's a commission decision. To me, the calls that I get sometimes when an office is closed, if somebody lives 40 miles away and they drive up to an office and it's closed, nobody's there, with the amount of employees we have in these offices, I think we should have them open 5 days a week, even if we have to, like they flex whoever works there, being a public service, I think the offices should be open 5 days a week. Closing them one day, I don't know. That's just my opinion, my comment on it. On the 410s, does that help with the overtime, or does it increase the overtime when we have to call these people in on their days off?
So when I first came in, a lot of these offices were already on their established schedules, and I looked at, I did an analysis on that very same thing, manpower, and then the constraints and or fiscal impact of having 410s and how it affects overtime. With the road department, that was put into play mainly during the winter months, with callouts. And then it seemed to just, continue, I guess. Like I said, that was in play. And so the employees pretty much got used to that. The road department is one of those same entities that even with the 5/8, the overtime's gonna be there because you have callouts. But I can do another analysis and make a decision, on, and you know what I believe the impact is. It's pretty intricate. When I first got here, I didn't see a really big difference, because I've done that analysis before, especially because the road department is so understaffed. That's one of the problems. The same way at the detention center. I mean, they do, and it's not very good. They do 12-hour shifts there, and that's one of the things we've been trying to get away from. And actually, so you know, we have been getting a huge amount of applications for the detention center because of the compensation package the word's getting out. So I've given the detention center, I think, at least 5 or 6 applications in the last week. So I just await your direction. The county manager's office is always open. We might close once in a while. We would have 6 birthdays, and I always take the office. I pay for it out of my own pocket. I take the office out and celebrate that person's lunch. We announce it ahead of time, we post it, and sometimes we don't even take the whole hour. Sometimes, depending on the restaurant, we might be over by 10 minutes, but we always try to get somebody back. And that's even taking into account with some personnel that get there at 7 in the morning and some that work till 9 at night. So with that, like I said, we do try to address it on a case-by-case basis. But if on escape program and the road department, if you want me to do the analysis, I'll be glad to. Might take me a month because I'm right in the middle of everybody else, and get back to you on that.
What are the wishes of the commission?
Sir, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Athena, within this past calendar year, 2022, roughly the number of cases that somebody had to be called out on Friday?
0.
0. Okay.
And we have, like I said, we have the on-call number 24/7, and every individual, they've been asking for calendars, which they always get, so they know exactly all their check-in days and what our time and dates of availability are. So in this past year, I haven't had anybody say that I've been aware of that they've come down on a Friday and that we weren't there.
So question, Athena, being on a 410 week, if we look at the approved holidays, I'll use, for example, your day off is when, Friday?
Yes.
Okay, the approved holidays are for Thanksgiving are Thursdays and Friday. So for your schedule, you're not able to take that Friday, so you take Wednesday also?
It depends. It can be kind of complicated for us, but we end up spreading it out so it's an even time slot. So in other words, we make sure that the 40 hours equals the whole week. So on some days, what we have to do is we work an 8-hour day for the whole week. And then other times, we might take 2 hours off here and there to make sure that every employee reaches their 40 hours. So it's a little bit of time juggling, but the 40 hours, we end up figuring out how to work that out. So
But if
Mr.
you're,
Brooks can probably explain it.
if you're on a 410 work schedule, your holidays are automatically 10 hours, correct?
No. Certainly.
Mr. Chairman, just to respond to that. So the New Mexico Constitution actually sets out what a legal day is regarding work hours. That doesn't mean you can't have 10s and 4s, and juggle time. But a holiday is 8 hours. So if someone's holiday, it's a Monday and that's a work day and you have a 10-hour shift, you still get to stay home that day, but you only receive a check for 8 hours. Certainly they have the opportunity to, if they would like to utilize vacation to get the extra 2 hours, they can, but everybody in the county gets paid the same, and that's 8 hours no matter what their shifts are.
So on those weeks, like the road department or her, like for Thanksgiving where they get 2 days of holiday. So that's 4 hours that they gotta make up, right? So,
That's correct. If they
so they have to take leave for those 4 hours?
if they would like to make up those 4 hours, that's correct.
So how do they do it if they don't take leave?
Then they only get paid 76 hours.
That's right.
Oh, okay. I feel sorry for the one that's being paid. Thank you, Virginia.
My only question is, what was it, fall break is a single day?
Yeah, fall break, the commission has usually allowed me to survey, that's usually when kids are on break during that fall. And allowed me to send out county user with a survey, which day is most advantageous for employees who are parents usually and others. And so we select a day that way. And then we usually send that out like by July or so, select a day so we can put it on the calendar.
I noticed that for Thanksgiving, half a day off the day before. Was that on there last year?
Yes,
It was.
yes, sir.
One last comment, the only thing I would like to add, even though I worked all of my birthdays, I would like to add a personal day, maybe it'd be the birthday of the employees.
That actually is a role play. It's in the policy.
We do have a person.
So I make the motion to approve as presented.
Do we need to change them?
No.
I have a motion from Commissioner Gonzalez to approve the working hours and paid holidays. Do I hear a second?
I will second. And
Okay. A second by Commissioner Gonzalez. In favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2023-05, working hours, paid holidays is approved. If you don't mind, Mike, as for my convenience, if you can do that analysis and check out.
I'm working it, so I'll get right on that.
Well, whenever, I don't have orders, but that way we have a chance to review it.
Okay, I shall.
Thank you. Item F, consideration of resolution 2023-06 establishing depositories.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, New Mexico law requires that annually you recognize your depositories. And basically what that consists of is banks and institutions that meet the federal, that meet pursuant to 61010, the insurance requirements for safekeeping money, which is either FDIC, which all of them are, or 110% collateralization. And so it recognizes those within the boundaries of the county. The county has the ability to put funds there, and also the local government investment pool in Santa Fe. We have the right to put money there. Now, this isn't determining where the money is put. That's up to the treasurer and you as sitting as the Board of Finance, which I believe we'll discuss later on in this meeting. However, this just recognizes those. So I would suggest approval.
You heard the recommendation of the attorney. Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez. Need a second?
I'll go in second.
Second by Commissioner Secretarial. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2023-06 establishing depositories is approved. Item G, consideration of resolution 2023-07, signature on checks.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, under New Mexico law, only, all funds have to be put in the county treasury. There's no secret bank, the detention center can't have a bank account and the sheriff's department can't have a bank account. Everything has to be deposited through the treasurer. That said, to spend funds, you have to do it through a check. It can be an electronic check, of course, and through ACH, but the approval of those checks, one, for internal controls, one of them has to be the county treasurer. And that means not the deputy treasurer, not someone else. It has to be the county treasurer. The second is the county chair or the designee. And basically at this meeting, you all determine who else has the ability under the chairman to sign checks. Traditionally, this board has allowed all 5 commissioners to sign checks just in case the chair is not available or another commissioner is not available and those checks need to be signed. However, there's no requirement that you do that. You can pick 1 commissioner, 2 commissioners, or just the chairman. However, that's the traditionally, all 5 have been able to do that. This resolution is written for all 5. You can make changes. Otherwise, I suggest adoption as is.
So. Okay, Joe, you made the motion to approve where all the commissioners can sign. You hear a second?
Second that.
Second by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2023-07, signature on checks is approved. Item H, consider resolution 2023-08, signature authority for grantee checks.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this resolution is setting forth who you would like to designate for grants. When you get a grant, of course, all grants have to be approved by this board, but the grants, there's always lots and lots of paperwork that you certainly don't want to keep bringing back. So traditionally, this board has appointed 3 people to have that authority, to do reports and that sort of thing with grants. So I would suggest you designate 3, the county manager certainly being 1. Finance would probably be a good, and I'm not sure who the third. And the chairman. So it's a.
Okay, you heard the recommendations of both our manager and attorney. I need a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Secretary.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gonzalez. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2023-08, signature of authority for grantee checks is approved. Consideration of resolution 2023-09, delegation of authority for contracts.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, again, this recognizes that under the law, the only individuals that have the right, or the only body that has the right to sign any contract for the county would be the Board of County Commissioners. The treasurer can't say, "Oh, I would like to have a contract for collecting this kind of money or with Visa." Everything does legally have to come to this board. However, traditionally, because you have a legally designated manager, that manager should have the ability to enter into certain contracts. You certainly don't want everything being brought to this board. If it's a small matter, of course, it's always reported to this board, but I would advise that you delegate the authority to the manager for certain contracts. I believe last year, the amount was increased from $10,000 to $40,000 per contract, for the small matters. That's completely up to this board. Some counties have it up to 100 some thousand. Some counties limit it to 10 or 5,000. Last year you did approve 40.
You heard the recommendation, Commissioner?
We will, I think it's the same. I would make the motion to keep it the same from as of last year.
Second.
Second by, motion by Commissioner Secretary to leave it as the same as last year. second by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2023-09 delegation of authority for contracts is approved. Item J, consideration of resolution 2023-10 disbursement of vendor checks.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, this is very similar to the other two resolutions, and this is allowing the manager to authorize the checks that are general run-of-the-mill, for instance, utilities and fuel, the things that are reoccurring, and that way we don't run late on reoccurring charges. I would suggest approval.
You heard the recommendation of our attorney. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez, second by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2023-10 disbursement of vendor checks is approved. Item K, consideration resolution 2023-11 inspection of public records.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, pursuant to state law, this board is required to determine who the custodian of public records is as far as the county is concerned. And that's important because under the Inspection of Public Records Act, there are strict timelines to comply with. And if you don't meet those timelines, or if you don't allow things to come in, or if you don't do it correctly, you don't give out information that you should have, there are very serious legal penalties. This particular resolution designates the county manager as the central person, the custodian of records. What's important about that is, it's another department or office may have the information required, but what we want is to make sure that legally, when a request comes in, it gets funneled to the county manager, who can then collect the information. We maintain a solid record of what we have done and have not done, and that way it's clear if we ever have a legal challenge on it. It's also important. Let's say, for instance, somebody comes in and says, "This is my inspection of public records act request," and walks over and hands it to someone at the senior center. That time period doesn't start at that point because it has not reached the custodian of record. So at this point, I would suggest approval.
So moved. Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez. Need a second? Second by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2023-11 inspection of public records is approved. Consideration of resolution 2023-12 appointment of housing authority.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, before you is you're annually required to acknowledge those persons that are on the housing authority, and if there's a vacancy, to fill that vacancy. And it's up to this board's discretion. I believe what's in the packet.
Did you guys see it? Any questions on it?
So it's up on the board, isn't it? It's pretty cool.
And have we contacted these individuals to see if they still want to continue?
Commission Chair, the director of El Camino Real Housing Authority has these people already in play from being past servers, and all of them are agreeing to continue to serve.
Okay,
So move.
motion by Commissioner Gonzalez,
No, second.
second by Commissioner Secretarial. Resolution 2023-12, appointment of housing authority is approved with list of names. Item F, consideration resolution 2023-13, appointment to the SCCOG board. Scott.
Sorry. Got it there. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, the South Central Council of Governments is an organization that represents the local governments in the area, and we do need to have an individual appointed. I believe the past individual was, I believe it was Commissioner Anaya, so we do need an individual and a member to be appointed.
who wants to be on this board?
Didn't you participate in one of the meetings not too long ago?
No, that's the other one, the one that. That's the one that we have to vote, the 12th, to appoint somebody. I put my name on it for consideration.
What is this particular board?
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you, Chair Martinez. Commissioners, this is South Central Council of Governments. We actually are a paying member along with other entities throughout the county. They assist with grants and other type of fiscal agents for some entities. And they actually do legislative work, that was the meeting yesterday that myself and Commissioner Martinez and Jennifer attended, in which they actually collaborated to set it up and make sure that the senators and representatives were there to hear our thoughts. Socorro County had already met with all those people before, but it was good to reiterate what our needs are. So they, I always, as often as I can, I go. If I don't go through the county, I actually go through the San Antonio Mutual Domestic. So they play an important role. We're starting to utilize them more. I just met with them again to see if they could assist us with another grant as far as getting some equipment. So they have, there was a time when we didn't utilize them very much, but we've started utilizing them quite often. And again, we're paying members. So they try to have monthly and for sure quarterly meetings and then an annual meeting. So if you can't go, I usually go anyway because we do some very important work. So time frame is usually, they usually have meetings we had it in Socorro. So South Central Council of Governments is Socorro County, Sierra, Doñana. I think Grant, could be wrong, but I think it's Grant also. So they try to have meetings in those areas, and if you have time to travel and be there, the meetings are usually 3 to 4 hours.
It's a good board to be on. Yesterday, Gwen Valentino, she said that she'd be willing to help us to write grants and stuff. So it'd be good to get on there. So I need a recommendation from the commission. Point somebody to this.
I'll be waiting.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Salas. I need a motion to appoint Commissioner Gonzalez to this board. Motion by Commissioner Secretarial. Second by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Commissioner Gonzalez, you're appointed to the Scouts Board. Consideration of Resolution 2023-14, appointment of Regional Planning Organization.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, this also requires an appointment, and I believe, Mike, you could probably talk more about this organization. 1 second here, Mr. Chairman.
This is another one of the boards that we all gather and collaborate and identify needs within each county and planning of what's going on in the regions. This is one of the boards also that I think has helped participate in some of the regional planning for possible expenditure of opioid funds. Mm-hmm. So they look at the needs of each county, and as that regional board, they also lobby at the legislature as well to identify needs in the region. I don't know their strength as much in that area as far as SCOG. SCOG has a little bit more oomph, I guess, but this is a very intricate board as well. And I think Joe was a member last year, an alternate, and I was a member. So if you want,
you guys
saying or somebody
favor doing it like that, or you want somebody else on there?
No, that's fine, that's fine.
I'll make the motion to approve as you like it is.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez, seconded by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Resolution 2023-14, appointment of regional planning organization is approved, with Mike being the main one and then Joe's the alternate. Item O, consideration of resolution 2023-15, New Mexico County Insurance Authority.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is different than the specific, than the election that you're having with just the elected officials, which is for New Mexico counties. This, on the other hand, is for the actual authority, so a member and a representing this commission and an alternate need to be appointed.
Who was on there before, Mike?
Manuel and I, with Mike as the alternate.
Okay. Who wants to take?
And how often do they meet? Was it quarterly?
Sometimes quarterly and always during the legislative session as well. And then they send out reports regarding where we're at on different threats as far as possible litigation and same type of items. They do not meet as often.
Who wants to volunteer?
It's legislative and quarterly, you said?
They try to,
Okay.
but always during the legislative session as well.
Want to try that?
Give it a shot, yeah.
Commissioner Aguilar would like to be on that. And Mike, you'd be the alternate? Okay. Need a motion for that? Need a motion for that?
I motion, I make the motion to John and Mike to be on this board.
A second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2023-15, New Mexico County Insurance Authority. Commissioner John Aguilar is on there and our manager. Item P, consideration of resolution 2023-16, DWI Council.
Mr. Chairman, we do need appointments for this. I'll let Athena speak.
Thank you, Commissioner. So this appointment for this council is actually really important and exciting. We have the Sheriff's Department, we have state police, we have the schools, we have our prevention program, we have the Health Council, we have all the treatment providers within Socorro County, and it's once a quarter. And what we do is we're able then to all share information together about the issues, challenges, and successes within treating not only underage youth in the community, but what's happening from a DWI, DUI, high risk informational session. So it is important that we do continue to have someone from the commission on the council. So if you would be interested, we would be honored to have your participation, and it's once a quarter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone interested or?
Once a quarter.
So,
Currently, we have Commissioner Secretary on that board.
There's the administrator.
Yeah. Does anyone, you want to continue doing it? Okay. Craig wants to continue doing it. Do you want? Do you need a motion to appoint Commissioner Secretary as a Board of County Commissioners representative for this board?
So we're just voting on the one, the rest are.
The rest,
You're going to change all, like,
Do you know if anybody else is?
I'd ask Athena, but I believe they're all interested in continuing on the board. We'll leave it at
Okay. Gonzalez to approve all the ones that are listed. First. DW Council, do I hear a second? Second, Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution 2023-16, DWI Council is approved. Q, consideration resolution 2023-17, Senior Advisory Board appointment.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is your particular advisory board, which sets out the rules of who should be appointed from what areas. If I'm not mistaken, currently, unless someone has recently vacated, everyone is still within their term.
Okay.
Number
On,
number 9.
on number 4, Ms. Wanda Manzat, the Magdalena, she's appointed by the Magdalena, the village of Magdalena. She could no longer do it. It was commission meeting. And the mayor yesterday at the meeting told me that she has one named Sandy June.
I could certainly put Sandy Julian in it.
Sandy June. That's the only one that I know.
It was.
There's some question about number 8 as well.
Marcela Beta. We need to ask Sabina to find out.
Yeah, she had somebody there that asked me. I can't remember her name.
Well, for sure, one that's replaced by Sandy Julian, the mayor.
You all can come back to this and can we mail it or just bring it?
Selena's on sick leave.
We're gonna table this for the next meeting. So we table this for the next meeting.
You can certainly, so you can table or approve it as is, and then next meeting add the additional member.
I think we need to approve it because some of them are going to the legislature and that way we need to make changes.
I'll make that motion to approve it as is, and if we need to make the change, we'll make it.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez to approve it as presented. Second by Commissioner Gonzalez, Secretarial. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2023-17 Senior Advisory Board appointment is approved. R, consideration of the resolution 2023-18 appointment of lodgers taxes.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is a board that is required if we have a lodgers tax to review our lodgers tax funds and make recommendations to you as on how to spend them. We do have to have members from the lodging industry, tourist-related industry, and someone from the general public. We have had traditionally a very difficult time filling this board. I don't know that I am of any assistance on continuing to fill it. I believe we need all 5 slots.
One's a commissioner and the rest are like people who have.
We need 2 people from the lodging industry and 2 people from tourist-related industries. So, someone who owned a bed and breakfast would work great, or something.
Restaurant.
A restaurant would be perfect. Absolutely, anything of that. It is important that though this lodgers tax is only collected in the unincorporated areas of the county, so people that businesses in Magdalena or Socorro would not pay into it. So that's also one of the challenges in that most of our tourist-related industry is the large ones are centered in municipalities. So we would be looking more towards the Fight Ranch, bed and breakfast would be a good example, or even the Kiva RV park. But I can't. Yeah, this is a difficult one, and it is in all counties.
I make a motion, we approve it as is. Right. We have the table.
Chairman Martinez, Commissioners, Commissioner Gonzalez. What we've done in the past is we've allowed manager's office to reach out to different people, because sometimes nobody wants to be, so we've done that in the past. So if you want to possibly table this, and then hopefully by the next meeting, I will have some responses. I've reached out before and not gotten any, but I can maybe try some new ones in the unincorporated areas and see what we can do.
And another option too, it's up to you if you would like that to come back, but since this is an ongoing task that's been very difficult to do, you have the option to just delegate the authority to the manager to fill it as, if he can obtain anyone that meets the qualifications as he goes.
What is the wishes of the commission?
I like the second one.
What Mike can fill it. Okay, you heard the recommendation of our attorney. On this one, we would give the authority to our manager as he calls people to appoint somebody to this board. Need a motion to that resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Secretarial, Commissioner Gonzalez, I mean.
I'll second that with updates in regards to if we
Second by Commissioner Secretarial. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2023-18, appointment of lodger stacks is approved. S, consideration resolution 2023-19, appointment of county fire marshal.
Chairman, so the board, currently our ordinance requires that this board consider and appoint an individual to be the county fire marshal, and that's to oversee our fire districts. Currently, it is an unpaid position, although that is in the discretion of the board and can change if funds are obtained. Mark Mercer has been there for quite some time.
So
Okay. You heard
were you gonna say something, sir?
I was gonna ask Mark to say something.
Oh,
He wants to?
I was gonna ask him if he wants it. Don't let him out.
Good morning, Commissioners. And I appreciate it. I think I've done a good job with the county. We've got a lot of things that's happened in the past. We've gotten equipment in. New vehicles been purchased through the county fire districts. Training is continuing. You know, we're having to deal with volunteers to volunteer, but that's a nationwide. And I do appreciate the commission, and I hope that you will let me continue to do the job as fire marshal for the county of Socorro.
Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. I'll second.
Motion is to approve.
Can there be a rebuttal?
Say again?
Can there be a rebuttal to his remark?
It's purely up to your discretion, Mr. It would be unusual, but it's up to your discretion.
I believe you're probably gonna be on the next commission meeting, so you can state your sentiments and that'd be good with me. I'm not good with the placement. He's not fulfilled what his obligation is. And I can outline it.
I would think, commission, that would be a personnel issue, and that you could not discuss performance. You can bring that complaint to me. As you know, the resolution is based off the recommendation of the county manager.
Yes.
That presents to the commission. I'm well versed in all the personnel issues and or any compliments and or complaints, and to discuss them in an open meeting would be a violation of the personnel act.
Okay. Sir, if you have any concerns, you need to bring it to the manager's attention, being a personnel issue. That's the guidance I gave you, sir. Motion was made by Commissioner Gonzalez to appoint Mark as our county fire marshal. Do I hear a second? Second by Commissioner Secretarial. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, Resolution 2023-19, appointment of county fire marshal is approved. Mark Mercer, congratulations. Item T, consideration resolution 2023-20, appointment of district chiefs. Mark,
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, currently our ordinance allows the individuals in a department, the volunteers, to select a chief. That does have to be approved ultimately by this commission, recognizing that fire departments are a part of the county. A lot of people say that they are, there's basically a legal urban legend that they are, they're independent and that the county just serves as a fiscal agent. That's incorrect. The county is the actual governing body. So you all do get to approve or disapprove the slate of candidates that have been elected.
and those are all approved by the different fire departments. Mark,
Yes, sir, those are.
so that's the current one.
Yes, sir.
Do it. Need a recommendation to approve resolution 2023-20, appointment of district chiefs.
So moved.
Move, motion by Commissioner Gonzalez, second by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2023-20, appointment of district chiefs is approved. Current names there.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I would just like give Mark Mercer the opportunity to compliment the outgoing fire chiefs and for their service to the county. If he stand up and do that, and thank them for their service. That's a demanding position, as long as even being a volunteer fire.
Yes, sir, all the district chiefs that we have for Socorro County are awesome. Do a great job. It does take a lot away from their personal life. Hop Canyon, we have a new chief there, Chief Sean Williams, replacing Chief Bookland, who we lost, who passed away. He was a good chief, a great chief. And Andy Sanchez was brought up from assistant chief, voted in as chief for San Antonio. And then North County Fire is John Watkins. This is his second year. And he's young, but he's coming along. All of our chiefs for the county go above and beyond. I just have all the utmost respect for each and every one of them, and all my firefighters, all of them. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
okay. Appointment of County Livestock Loss Authority Board Member.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is the new authority, the independent legal authority that Socorro County created in conjunction with Catron and Sierra County. Sierra County is the fiscal agent, and that is now replacing the Coexistence Council to review livestock loss claims and to pay out those claims with funds received from the legislature, the Department of Agriculture, and individual groups. And I believe that currently it was that, Mr. Chairman, you serve on the board. This just needs to be in the minutes and reflected so that whoever the appointment for this year is, if you'd like to continue or if someone else would, that appointment be made.
I would like to stay on that board if it's.
I make a motion to keep the board as is with Chair Martinez on there.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Secretarial. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Appointment of County Livestock Authority Board Member, myself. As public information on February 22nd, I think that's what it is. Let me see here. Give me a few minutes here.
Mr. Chairman, if you're looking, yes, the Livestock Loss Authority Board will be meeting in this building at 3:00 p.m. on February 22nd for its reorganizational and business meeting.
Yes, and I want to publicize it to the public, especially the ranchers that have losses due to wolves, to come to this meeting, because this board will be able to compensate those ranchers a lot quicker than the way it is now. I'm hoping to put it in the paper and send flyers out to people so they know, so that way they can participate and know who is in that board and how to follow the process to get compensated.
And I think, Mr. Chairman, that the Department of Agriculture has requested that we do it, that we try to get the word out as much as possible.
Yes.
That is actually very important for the continuation of this board, is that people are aware that it's here.
Thank you, Adrian. Public hearing, A, Socorro County Ordinance 2023-1, property tax rebate benefiting low-income taxpayers.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, New Mexico law requires us to consider this particular ordinance every other year in January. I wish we had some of our legislative delegation here so I could pull their legs a little bit, but this is a situation where where the legislature has created a situation where they put the onus on county government. So basically, it allows this particular ordinance, if passed, allows you to authorize a rebate in property taxes for people who are below a certain income, and the chart's on there about how it's done. I think what happened is the legislature said, sure, we'd love to authorize property tax rebates. Counties, you do it. So they got to pass a law and get patted on the back, but then they put it on the counties to do. The trick to this one is it's not a free ride, in that if you authorize the rebate, we then have to, out of our general fund, pay the state of New Mexico back. So they really tricked us on that one. It's required to be done every year. I do not believe any county except Los Alamos County has ever passed this, because they're the only ones that can afford it. It would significantly harm our general fund. So I suggest that you open it to public comment, because it is public hearing as required by law. And then my staunch recommendation would be not to pass this ordinance.
Hearing the recommendation of our attorney, is there any public comment on this ordinance?
If you would, just a motion to go into public hearing.
Excuse me, I made a mistake there. I need a motion to go into public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Secretarios. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are now in public hearing. I say again, is there anyone in the audience that, any public input on this Socorro County ordinance? Hearing none, now I need a motion to go back into our meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez,
Aye.
second by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we are now in public meeting. Now I need a motion to disapprove the Socorro County Ordinance 2023-01 property tax rebate benefiting low-income taxpayers.
We can't approve it with the state picking up the bill? No?
I'm all about that.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez, seconded by Commissioner Aguilar. So need a vote to disapprove this ordinance. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Aguilar,
Yes, we
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Chair Martinez,
Yes, ma'am. Resolution County Ordinance 2023-01 property tax rebate benefiting low-income taxpayers is not approved. Item 12.
Mr. Chairman, if I might just interrupt for 1 second. It's up to you as the chair, if you would like to give the privilege, but I believe that we do have a representative from PMS here that is last on the agenda because that's where I put him, but you can have him speak now if you prefer.
PMS?
Paul Silva?
Yeah.
Sure.
I did that the pamphlet on your.
Okay. Mr. Silva?
Good morning, Chairman and fellow commissioners. Paul Silva, I'm the administrator for Presbyterian Medical Services for Bocc Family Health Center. And first of all, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to give a year-end report to you guys. So now on February 18th, we're going on 2 years of operation there at our Bocc Family Health Center. We're still operating our clinic with a local provider, which is a nurse practitioner. And those are, a local provider is somebody that travels, is a medical nurse practitioner that we hire that travels in and takes care of our clinic. We've been unsuccessful in recruitment of a nurse practitioner there at the Bocc Family Health Center. And when I say that is, we're still, the nurse practitioner covers my Socorro clinic as well as the Bocc Family Health Center. So she travels back and forth 2 days a week to the Miami Health Center. Currently, we have one PMOSA determiner that's there at the Bocc Health Center, and she's bilingual. And what she does is if somebody approaches our clinic without insurance, we can do a pre-eligibility determination there, as well as a Medicaid application as well for the people there that if they come in with no insurance, we can identify them, we can sit down with them and help them try to get Medicaid insurance or eligibility insurance there as well. And I just gave a brief summary of what the PMOSA determination means there. And this is off of the Human Service Department. So they provide us training, and it's a 2-day training that our people will sit down and they do a training and then they get a certification. So it's really rewarding as well. So, and the good part being that it has a lot of English patients, we have that person available, that bilingual, that can actually support patients there for that. We're continuing our COVID testing there. We have a rapid COVID machine that we can actually do COVID testing. We also now can do RSV, which is the biggest thing now for kids coming in, as well as adults. And then we do the strep testing, and we do a lot of on that as well. We're still doing telephonic visits. I know the state will probably come back and say we have to put a hold on that, but if somebody approaches our clinic that is showing COVID symptoms, we can actually do a rapid swab outside in their car, and we can actually do either a curbside visit or a telephonic visit. Or if they call my clinic while we're closed on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, they can call our clinic here in Socorro and they can schedule an appointment to do a telephonic visit as well there. We're also, our clinic every Monday orders COVID testing kits, and if we need to order some, we order them, and we're offering them to all our patients at the clinic. So if you come in, you walk out with a little COVID kit, and in the little package, there's 2 kits which contain 2 swabs, so you're taking away 4 kits. We're also assisting patients with COVID vaccines. So if anybody wants if we have a big need, we can either transfer COVID vaccines up to the Bocc clinic, or we sponsor a COVID vaccine clinic here at the Socorro clinic, which we try to incorporate for the whole Socorro County, not just for PMS. We open it up for the county through the Department of Health. So we do that, and actually, if you're interested in a COVID vaccine, the bivalent, we're doing one on Friday from 8:30 to 10:30. So give our clinic a call, and we're happy to get you scheduled for a COVID vaccine clinic. We've also completed our Joint Commission accreditation. They came down. We do that every 3 years, and they came in September, and we maintained our accreditation. So they didn't come to Socorro or North Bocc, but we did. They hit the other PMS clinics which are within New Mexico. And then we're using the IRIS interpreting line, which is a video or an interpreting line. So if somebody comes in and they're Spanish speaking and my provider is English only, we can actually put you up on video, and we can do your visit via video. So that's actually a good feature for our patients as well, which they help a lot. In your packet on the second page, I just put our schedule, our clinic schedule that we're open. We're still open on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 12, closed for lunch. We're actually now starting to see a little encounters coming from new patients. We're starting to see more new patients coming to our clinic. These are patients that live in the Viguita area and used to travel into Belen, and now are coming to Socorro, coming to our Viguita clinic to be seen as well. So we actually put in our crisis line. So if somebody calls in with a crisis, we have a crisis line as well. My staffing pattern is as well there. We're operating with, like I said, a certified medical assistant. She was just a regular medical assistant too, now certified, and local provider. We have also increased our medical visits from 811, and 316 of those are duplicated. That means that they just continue coming back in. So we're starting to see a little increase in our number of encounters. Having a different local provider is really a big difference, a big change, because we had another local provider. Those were really quick visits, and patients wanted to actually get 20, 30-minute visits. So we had to make that change with the new provider, which we did, and that's actually helped. But we're seeing all kinds of, you see our payer mix. Our biggest payer mix there is our Medicaid population. So we're starting to, that's good. And the next big payer is our Medicare. So we've known that Medicaid, Medicare are our biggest payers in the area. Then next to that is patient pay. These are patients that don't have insurance, but we do have the side scale that we can provide our patients, and they can pay on the side scale depending on their income. And then the next one is our commercial insurance. And again, between the ages of 1 and actually 30 to 59 are the biggest population that we see at our clinic. So those are people that are in that age range. And then our next one is our kiddos, which are ages 1 through 18. And we get to see many kids from the Boys and Girls Ranch, as well as the elementary school right next to us. So we see a variety of patients there. And then again, our biggest gender panel is our females. We don't see very many males there at our clinic, but we do open it up to all our patients. And we're like I said, we're starting to increase those numbers now that looks like more COVID, more sick patients are coming up to our clinic, and transferring from that were going to Belen are coming back to us. So as many know, Dr. Sanchez is no longer in the practice in Belen, so they were seeing them. So now they're starting to come to see us eventually. So which is good. So we're happy to see them again. So but we're excited. We're still operating, and I think we're doing a really good job there. The one challenge, like I said, is just the recruitment of a full-time provider, nurse practitioner. But that is something that has been a challenge in all medical facilities, as well as my Socorro as well. I'm operating my 2 clinics as well as the school base with local providers, which is nurse practitioners, and I have a full-time medical director that I just hired in September here at the Socorro clinic. So we're making progress. We're out recruiting still. We're working hard on recruiting full-time providers. Any questions? Or?
The only question I have, Paul, the people that you try to get Medicaid qualified, what percentage are actually getting Medicaid qualified?
Well, most of the time, if they're ready, if they just lapsed, more than likely they get requalified. It's just sometimes they just didn't get their notification, or they just didn't go to the income support division office. So, but it's hard to when you get those patients that are undocumented. Right. Those are my biggest ones, and in that area, most of it are undocumented. But if you already have insurance, most likely you're gonna get recertified. And it's just, again, just getting to the Income Support Division office to get certified, and we can do it right then and there. Certification takes about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on the size of the household. But most of the time it's, we can do it there at the clinic. So, but we'll definitely, unless we need to go back into the Veguita area on off days to do the certification, we have that option as well. So, because most times the patients aren't carrying their proof of income with them as well. So we'll set up a time and say, does Wednesdays work best for you, even though we're not there, or a Friday? So my determiners are flexible. So we're really flexible for that area as well. So, but most of the time people come with insurance there, and if not, if they're gonna lapse, we work with them. We try to, again, we place them on the sliding fee scale, which is a good piece to help our patients there.
Thank you.
Any further questions from Paul?
Right, I have a question. In regards to the 813 visits, right?
Yeah.
Or 811 visits, what percentage of our slots is that in regards to, are we like 78% of capacity of the, I guess what I'm getting at is, are we starting to look at maybe near future in regards to maybe extending those days, Monday, Wednesday?
Actually, as of now, we're not at full capacity to open any additional days. I mean, we actually, during those days, we struggle still trying to fill those slots, those provider slots. And like I said, having a different provider at times makes a big difference. The provider that I have currently there now is, like I said, she'll stay 45 minutes with you when it's supposed to be a 20-minute visit. And the duplicate providers duplicate users are the ones that, I need a follow-up visit, and the providers sat down with you, they've done x-rays, they've done labs, and there's something wrong, they bring you back, they continue bringing you in. Not everybody constitutes a actual follow-up visit. And again, it's hard because when you have, most of your visits are your kiddos or something simple, sometimes they don't require 2 follow-up visits. Most of the time, it's just a quick sick visit, sore throat, ear infection, strep, or just refill of medications. So, but we're still struggling. We still need to increase those numbers there so that we can show numbers that we need to open more. But we also, some of our patients there in the Veguita clinic need diabetic visits, and it's hard to get in for a diabetic eye exam anywhere within New Mexico. My clinic here in Socorro does have a retinal eye exam screener, so we will work with our patients in Veguita to bring them to Socorro so we can do that with the Veguita provider. So we're still providing that service, even though it's my Socorro clinic, but we're still providing that service because it's important to our families, our patients there in Veguita. So help us get the word out, and we're happy to serve that area.
Any other questions? If I may, Mike, Paul, yesterday when we met with our senators and representatives, we're requesting $100,000, right?
Correct, 100,000 this year, 2022-23, we received 80. The year before was 100. It was supposed to be reoccurring, but so I don't know what happened, but I think Representative Armstrong is looking into that, as well as the new senator that's going to be in the area. I think starting in 2024, Greg Bocc, he said he's going to look at it as well.
So help us plus, call the representatives to.
Definitely, yeah, because our contract is coming in 2024. So yeah, whatever we need to do to help facilitate that, and
we get that, that's a lot easier.
We definitely, and Veguita needs that, the medical care up there in that area. So we need everybody's support and everybody can work on this.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you for what you do, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Item B.
Mr. Chairman, one more time, apologize. When it's convenient for the board, if you would like to remove the senior advisory board from the table, we do have the final name. It was texted to Mike.
For
senior advisory for the Veguita area.
Okay. So
Make a motion to go back to that item.
okay, I make a motion to go back to
Item
Q.
Q?
Q.
Q.
Under old business. Under old business, item Q.
Okay, I need a motion to go back to resolution 2023-17, senior advisory board appointment.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Secretero. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. We're back on the senior advisory board appointment. Who is that name?
Rosalind Abeta.
Rosalind Abeta.
Sorry, that's Rosalind Romero
Rosalind Romero.
to take Marcelo Bateman's position.
Okay. You heard the recommendation of our manager. We need a motion to approve Rosalind Romero.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Secretero, Gonzalez, second by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, she is appointed to the senior advisory board.
That's slot number 9, right?
Yes. Okay, we go now to new business. Item B, consideration resolution 2023-21 detoxification grant agreement. Ofina.
Yes, so this is one of the 4 grants that we will be writing for in these next 10 weeks. And so I just need your approval to be able to do so.
Who writes the grants, you or?
Yes, I do. With my assistant, who's my members person.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Secretero, second by Commissioner Gonzalez. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2023-21 detoxification grant agreement is approved. Item C, consideration of resolution 2023-22, the RISE program.
So this is an additional grant that's separate from the DWI grant. And actually what I forgot to say earlier about our staffing, on Fridays, we actually do our tribal wellness at the detention center. So we do have staff around in Socorro. We're just working at the detention center on that day. It's pretty much a full day for our tribal wellness. And that's one of the biggest factors that we offer through the RISE program. Most of our RISE program currently is working through the detention center. And I was actually told that we are sort of a spotlight for this grant through BHSD and HSD. So it's very competitive this year, but I think that we have a really good shot of continuing. And it's a 3-year grant, so a lot of work and time will be put into this. So I'm just requesting your approval to do so.
Sure. Motion by Commissioner Secretero to approve, second by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2023-22, the RISE program is approved. Thank you. Item D, consideration resolution 2023-23, capital outlay program, New Mexico DOT. Mike.
Thank you, Chair Martinez. Commissioners, in your packet is the NMDOT capital outlay program. That's a $3.1 million project to be done in Alamo. I also put in for the, as you can see, there's a 0 match because I put in for hardship and I was granted the hardship, which alleviates us putting in 500,000. So we actually do not have a match on this. So we get the total amount of monies and the commission saves 500,000. So I have a do pass recommendation.
Questions?
Yes. Thank you very much, Mike. Thank you for your hard work. I know we had many sleepless nights working on this. And with that, I will make a motion to approve this.
Motion by Commissioner Secretero,
Second.
second by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2023-23 capital outlay program, Mexico DOT is approved. Just one question, Mike, who will do the what? Contractor?
So right now, Dennis Engineering is the entity that is hired other engineers, structural engineers, and of course, we had to do a geotech and the LiDAR I talked about earlier. So those are subcontractors that Dennis Engineering will do the final engineering, then any subcontractors, they'll go out more than likely with an RFP and or if they identify specialists that they need, that's
To do the work.
yeah.
Good. Okay. Item E, consideration of resolution 2023-24 local DWI grant and distribution program.
Okay, once again, commissioners, thank you very much. I'm requesting to be able to write for this grant. These three grants for the DWI detox distribution and the grant for the grant within it, there are three. And this year it'll come close to $400,000. So, we would really like to be able to utilize this because these funds really do help us be able to offer prevention and education and treatment within the community. Thank you.
Thank you. You heard the recommendation from Athena. Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Secretarial. Gonzalez,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Secretarial. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2023-24 local DWI grant and distribution program is approved. Item F, consideration of MOU between Socorro Consolidated Schools and Socorro County Sheriff's Office. But,
Mr. Chairman,
Sheriff,
so basically what this is I've already discussed a little bit with you about how we're working with schools for a school resource officer. We've got the funding. What we're going to be doing is that officer is going to have authority through the sheriff's office and through the sheriff's commission. And what the MOU says basically is it's a limited commission where they'll just be able to work on school grounds and not be making traffic stops and stuff outside of school grounds unless I don't know. I don't think at all. So also we're going to be helping them with certain training and stuff like that. I haven't read the MOU completely. Amanda was working on that, and I believe Adrian put it together for us, correct? And
Yes, right.
So we're just saying, we'd like to help them out and do this with them. We did run into a little hiccup. The former sheriff was supposed to take that position. Something happened that he wasn't able to take it. So now we're looking for a school resource officer. So if any of you guys know anybody that would be good for that position, let us know.
Mr. Chairman, it's important to note, certainly what's happening is that the sheriff is appointing, is giving somebody a deputy commission who is not necessarily employed by the county. He has the right under law to grant as many, deputy positions as he like, even if they're not employed. Where it intertwines with this board is that county property in this case is at issue, and that I believe that we will be providing the materials, a vehicle and the other equipment that's necessary, and that's why this board has to make that consideration.
It's not going to cost the county any more than we already have. We already have everything we need to give to them. Plus, I think the school eventually will start giving them what they need, but for right now, it's just to get them started.
So it's my understanding that the person being commissioned is, there's an interview process.
Yes,
it's
yes.
not like.
It's going to be completely through the school. So they're going to be a school employee. So it's going to be their very first Socorro Consolidated School resource officer. It's not going to be a county officer, our deputy. It's going to be through the school, their retirement, their benefits, everything through the school. We're just going to help them get started.
But who determines that they're qualified to be an officer?
So
The school will hire who they want, but of course I'll be a part of that saying, all right, well, I'll talk with them because I'm not just going to commission
That's
anybody, it's got to get.
that's my point.
To address your under New Mexico law, it's kind of strange. New Mexico Tech universities can have their own police force, cities and towns. There's lots of different entities that can. However, schools cannot have their own police, local schools cannot have their own police officers. So it will be a school employee. They will cover all insurance and do all of that sort of thing. However, in order for them to have police authority, it does have to come from the sheriff, or it could come, of course, from the chief of police if they were within the local, within the municipality. But at this point, I believe the sheriff is offering to grant him that authority, and the sheriff's authority is he can revoke that at any time as well.
Mike?
Chair Martinez, Commissioners, Sheriff, we are supplying a vehicle, though, right?
Yes, we're not giving them a vehicle, we're gonna let them use it. They're gonna pay for their own gas.
So it's gonna have sheriff markings on it?
I don't think so.
Okay, so
I
that's,
think we'll probably have to have those markings removed.
okay. In uniforms or Sam Brown and that?
Sam Brown and stuff like that, depending on, so if it was gonna be William, he has all his own everything, and so that's something I'll have to talk with Ron about. But yes, we will provide them with a Sam Brown, any training as far as that needs to be done through the biennium cycle for the law enforcement academy.
Sidearm? So then they'll have to be certified, right?
Yes, they'll have to be certified. They're gonna have to be, commissioned first. So if they decide to hire somebody that isn't currently a law enforcement officer, which would go under the training like we do, like we hire people that cadets. So if they hire a cadet that's not currently certified, then we would give them all the training that we would our own cadet. We would probably give them some sort of an FTO process, help them out, and then get them through the academy. So if we find somebody that's already commissioned, or certified, excuse me, that's already certified, then we would just have to give them a commission and help them with any ongoing training that they would need to keep up with. So with a sidearm, that's a good question. If they asked us for a sidearm, I don't know, I'd have to get with Adrian about that and see what the legality is of us loaning them a sidearm.
Let me just make perfectly clear for the Board of County Commissioners, and of course for you, Sheriff, which you already know, but if you agree to do this, it is a very good thing for our schools, and we all see what's going on in our schools every day, and it's needed. And the sheriff or the chief of police are the only ones that have the authority to do that. That said, it is important that we are, when we do this, we take on that liability. I mean, even though technically the school should have the liability, if something goes wrong, guess what? The sheriff gets sued as well, and so does the Board of County Commissioners. That's just life. So to answer your question, he is under your commission. If if he meets the qualifications, this county can issue him a sidearm, or you can require that the school do a sidearm. Either way, we are still on the hook on this. Let there be no mistake.
When something goes wrong, everybody's liable.
That's right.
Okay. I with that, I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez to approve. MOU. Second by Commissioner Aguilar. Before I ask for the vote, just as a comment, at our meeting yesterday, the Superintendent Hendricks, he's requesting money for officers, right, Mike?
That's
Or
correct.
funding, I should say funding.
They're trying to, what he's trying to do, and we all had a meeting, we have to iron out all these things. One of the things he's trying to do is to do like they do in Las Tunas Public Schools, is to have their own force, but that takes a lot of work. But that's his aim, because then at some point he can apply for, like the Sheriff's Department did, top grants. I don't know, have we been successful? I don't know.
They haven't gotten back to us on that one. I thought they had it.
So that's his idea, but that, just in my estimation, based upon my past experience, that's at least a 2 to 3 year process to get him to that stage.
I was amazed of what he said after I talked to him afterwards of what's going on in the schools and stuff. And I was pretty, well, you saw in the news, that teacher, that 6-year-old that shot a teacher, had a gun at school. So it's here to stay, I think. And has anyone from Magdalena schools or Alamo schools approached you?
Not yet. So I was gonna approach the superintendent in Magdalena about it. I mean, I had kind of just in passing talked to him about it.
Yeah.
And then I heard he had been sick, so I haven't approached him yet on it.
The acting superintendent is Jory Mirabal,
Oh, okay, okay.
the coach. And
Yeah, I know, Joy, yeah. So I'll go talk to them and see if we could do the same thing there for them. Again, when I did, I don't know if he's the former superintendent, in passing last year during the basketball game, I stopped him and talked to him and said, hey, what would you think about having a school resource officer? And he said, oh, in a perfect world, that would be great, but the funding is what we're gonna have a problem with. So it would be good to go back and kind of just get this one done and see how they did it. And then that way, all right, this is how we started here. Is this possible, in the future? So,
I just gotta get it off my chest. The discussion is important, but it's just not a good thing that where we're at in society. It's nothing against law enforcement. But when we're asking for funding for our schools, we should be asking for funding for basketballs, footballs, trombones, foods, not for law enforcement. So that is a message to the public, I think. So.
I absolutely agree. And unfortunately,
yeah.
How did it get this way?
So
I don't know, but when we're having fentanyl pills in the bathroom, and it's scary. It's a scary day.
there was a motion and a second, so all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. MOU between the Socorro Consolidated Schools and Socorro County Sheriff Office is approved.
Chairman, just as a future heads up, we are going to be doing some more MOUs with some other agencies. Like Sierra County, we're coming up with an intelligence sharing and a narcotics group that we're going to come up with soon. And then we're going to be doing that, trying to incorporate other counties around us. So when it comes to narcotics, instead of just having 13 people working on it, we're going to have double, triple, quadruple that by working together with these other counties. It's something that Sheriff Josh Baker and I have been working on since we first started running for sheriff, and it's something that we are going to implement. And so we're going to be doing future MOUs and stuff like that. And it's pretty exciting, to try and combine our agencies in ways to fight crime where it's going to be a lot more manpower for all of us here. And as part of those MOUs, we've talked to people from the Association of Counties to where as they come in and do stuff in our county, because we've done it before with the State Las Lunas, where they come in and we just commission them. But now we're going to enter into MOUs to where if they come in and they're working on, say, a chop shop that has a lot to do with their community. One thing we have to know is in the past we did. All liability of them coming in is taken by them. And they have to be escorted or have one of our officers present with them to let them, make sure that they're working within their scope and not going over, so that's something that we're going to be working on also. So.
That I heard there was a shooting in Alamo a couple of days ago.
No, there wasn't a shooting that I know of. There was a domestic where the male kind of got a little out of hand and he started cutting himself. And then at the same time, the father, I believe, of the woman had heart issues. And so it turned into a big, big mess. I think they had to call 3 ambulances at once for 3 different people. So
wow.
It was a crazy, crazy deal.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
Thank you. Have a good day,
Thank you, guys. I've got another meeting I gotta go to. We'll see you guys later.
Item G, consideration of MOU between the Socorro County DWI and New Mexico DFA/LGFD.
Okay. Good morning again. I think we're coming up to afternoon. So this is, and Adrian and of course the attorney and Mr. Hawks can address this, but it's really a relationship for fiscal oversight so that we can apply for the grants and that the communication and fiscal oversight is handled by our office, DFA, and the manager's office.
So
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez, second by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Local grant and distribution. No, MOU between Socorro County DWI and New Mexico DFA and LGD is approved. Item H, consideration of local grant and distribution program.
Okay, so once again, commissioners and everybody here, thank you again. This particular aspect of the 3 grants is going to be very helpful. One of the things that we're working on, of course, as you heard from the sheriff, the things that are going on at the high school and all schools currently, we're working very closely with the treatment, with the counseling center at the high school and Full Circle Recovery, which is one of our treatment providers here in Socorro County. And we're looking to establish an in-house intensive outpatient treatment for students while they're in ISS if they're having troubles, rather than just sending them home and stressing out the parents who might be working and having free reign of, the children or the youth just being out in the community. So this grant is actually going to be very important so we can collaborate much more closely with the schools and offer all-day counseling services within the school. So those services through CYFO, through Full Circle Recovery, and through HSD, we're hoping to establish that in the schools because we really do think that it's vital that youth understand how dangerous drugs are, and as you heard, particularly fentanyl. Thank you for all your time this morning.
So motion by Commissioner Gonzalez to approve. In a second.
Thank you very much for your hard work.
So, second by Commissioner Secretarial. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, local grant and distribution program is approved. Item I, consideration agreement with PHI for coverage, air medical coverage for county residents.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I probably jumped the gun on this. It should have been on the next meeting. I do not have the contract complete, but I do think it's something that you all need to consider. And we did have a presentation about a month ago, and what it is PHI is offering a discount for the county to cover all citizens for emergency airlifts. Now, what this means is if you're in need of an airlift, which means your 911 is called and a dispatcher or personnel, emergency personnel determine an airlift is needed, then if you don't have insurance or Medicaid coverage or Medicare coverage to cover it, they of course first go after the insurance because these cost $40,000. Then they will not charge the individuals for the service. So it's a great program. I'll tell you, I do it for my family, for my household. It's $50 a year for my household. It doesn't count if you just call 911 and say, hey, come pick me up in the helicopter, unfortunately, or I do it all the time. But the question before you really is, what's proposed is that you all, the county commission, use the general fund to purchase insurance for everybody. Now, calculating that out, they're doing it per household. And so per household in New Mexico, we have approximately under the last census 4,834 households in this county. That's $7 each, which would be approximately $35,000 a year. So a couple of things that are important about that. One, it does not violate the anti-donation clause because you're doing it for everybody. It's just like a road. As long as everyone can use it, it's fine. If you were only doing it for select citizens, it would violate the anti-donation clause. But number two, one thing to consider is we do have our obligations in the county, and those obligations are roads, the sheriff's department, the detention center, we know what our obligations are. This is not an obligation. This would be a benefit that you would be providing the people, but I would, certainly want to hear from the manager whether we have the money to do that, since it's not the county's job. If you do approve the contract, or if we move forward with the program, they will provide, cards for each household, so that each household has a card to show that they are PHI eligible. The other benefit to it is even if you're injured in an adjoining county, Lincoln or Catherine, you are still covered under their insurance. If it's something you'd like to move forward with, I would suggest that you direct the manager to do so and approve the contract. But certainly I would ask that you hear from the manager about funding, since it is not the county's responsibility.
Sure. A question, that's all households in the county or including the village, cities?
That's everybody. That's 4,834 households in the county that we would be providing.
And then there was a question.
And Alamo as well.
The jail.
Jail, I've been working there. We would have to do it in a separate contract. I believe they have determined that is too high risk of a population.
So it excludes them.
It would exclude those people in the detention center, which that's one that I really want to capture, Commissioner, but we would have to do something separate.
Chairman Martinez, Commissioners, just to expand on Commissioner Gonzalez's question, it excludes, correct me if I'm wrong, it excludes the detainees if they aren't already, if they're already covered, then they would have access to that service.
Absolutely.
But we can't cover them. So just so you know, it depends on the detainees' capability as well. So not everybody is excluded.
And with the manager's new program of getting everybody signed up, they should all be covered, hopefully, at this point.
So with that said, after the last presentation, I actually ran the numbers, and it's an expense that the commission can easily afford, not easily, nothing's ever easy, but the return on the investment is astronomical. And you have family members, we travel everywhere. I started thinking about it, and to get a call that maybe Commissioner Secatero's been involved in an accident coming from Alamo or coming from Magdalena, or just here in the city, and needs emergency evacuation to a specialized center, and can't rely on PHI because they're not covered, because either they don't have the fiscal capability. A cost of $32,000, $33,000, or even $35,000 is something that the county can easily provide for all the residents in this county, and the payoff is saving lives. So I would ask permission to pass it and then give me it falls under my signing authority. It's under 40 grand, so I could sign this contract, and then if you want, I could actually show it to you again that if it's followed through upon.
You heard the recommendation of our manager. What are the wishes of the commission?
So one question, we're not doing anything wrong because we're county residents too. We're not granting themselves.
Absolutely, that's why it does violate the anti-donation, because it's for everybody, and we're covering absolutely everybody.
Okay.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez to approve, second by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the agreement with PHI coverage air medical coverage for county residents is approved. Item J, consideration of property donation by Arthur Sandman.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, a final review by me and by the county assessor, we've determined that unfortunately Mr. Sandman is going to have to probate this property donation, so my recommendation would be not to accept it.
You heard the recommendation of our attorney. Need a motion not to accept the property donation by Arthur Sandman.
Is this up north also? No, it doesn't matter. So
Moved by Commissioner Gonzalez,
Second.
second by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Accepting this property donation of Arthur Sandman is not approved. Item K, maintain roads bladed. Mike,
I think this is the report.
This is the report that I got.
Yeah.
It's the yearly mileage report and the amount of miles that we do maintain in all the roads, names, and the amount and type of road that they are.
and it's 1,400.
My number is 1410, but the county road department is 1384. So I had asked the road department to review again. But I would ask that the commission go with 1410 because that's what I have, and that's actually more because I know since I've been here, the commission has authorized additional roads.
Okay, you heard the recommendation of our manager to approve maintain roads of 1,410 miles.
So
Motion by Commissioner Secretarial, second by Commissioner Gonzalez. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the maintain road plated for 1,410 is approved. Item L, Veguita PMS Health Center report. We have that already.
Yeah.
Item A, acknowledge personnel changes. I need a recommendation to acknowledge the personnel changes.
Are we doing the vendor checks at the same time? That's right.
Yes.
do we package those three? Do we package those three together, Joe?
That's what we had been doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, item N, financial approved vendors checks, approved payroll checks, all in the same one. Need a motion?
I'll make the motion as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez,
I second.
second by Commissioner Secretarial. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, personnel changes, plus approval of vendor checks, plus approval of payroll checks are approved. Okay, item N, direction of staff regarding use of millings on county roads.
Chair Martinez, Commissioner, I believe I hit on this earlier in my manager's report that we do that.
Okay,
What, I'm sorry, I have a question. What do we charge in terms of ton? Is it ton or?
Tons and distance from delivery, and or they can pick it up themselves. So if they pick it up themselves, it's less, and or within a certain mileage, there's a certain mileage amount.
The mileage amount, like let's say.
Yes.
Casa Magdalena.
I'd have to look at the chart again and then figure out the mileage, but I think Magdalena might be $18 a ton, where versus in Socorro might be 15. That's off the top of my head.
So it's not a tonnage price plus mileage, it's based on a unit price based on the mileage.
Exactly, yeah.
Depending on where it's.
Outside that circle. So we wanted to try to make it as easy as possible to implement, plus as non-prejudicial, I guess, for those living farther. We want to give them as much leeway as we could because we understand the need. So the idea, the philosophy was to make it as cost-effective but as cheap as possible, so those community members that really need it wouldn't be too substantial.
I have a couple colleagues that were asking about that because they saw some of the reports about the millions and stuff like that. Can you give me the figures for?
Sure.
Just text it to me.
Sure. I think Jennifer has I think we have the mileage and everything, because if they order it, they also have to come to the manager's office because we have to give them papers of how they can be used. You can't use it near a water source, because of EPA and stuff like that, but we can get that.
Okay.
Do we happen to have an idea how many tonnage we have?
Pull up around.
Tons of tonnage. Okay. Got it. Just continue as is my recommendation.
okay. Motion by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, direction to staff regarding using the buildings on county roads is approved to continue doing what we're doing. Item O, direction to staff regarding the re-implementation on the investment committee. This was recommended by Commissioner Nara before he left.
Mr. Chairman, if I might explain, certainly for Commissioner Aguilar's benefit. The way county investments run is that under the law, it's pretty strict. I mean, unfortunately, well, or fortunately, we don't get to, there's no investments in Bitcoin and there's no investments in anything, in anything fun and exciting. No stock market.
Risky.
Or risky. We are basically limited to utilizing the local banks that you've approved and the local government investment pool. And I mean, you can use the different instruments that those, that those entities offer, different types of CDs, and you make those choices. So there are a lot of decisions to be made. That said, under New Mexico law, the county treasurer decides where to invest the money. And this board, sitting as the county board of finance, gets to either approve that or disapprove it. So you basically get a veto, just like when the president approves someone in the Supreme Court, the Senate gets to say yes or no. They don't get to choose, but they get to say yes or no. Well, currently we've had, and previously what we had in this county, because the treasurer gets to make that decision no matter what, and then this board gets to make the rest of the decision. Previously, there's been a practice in the county where there's been an investment committee, which was set up, which is where this board delegates its authority to make those decisions to the finance director, the manager, another commissioner, whomever you would like to sit on that committee. And that way, those investment decisions don't have to come back. And it can be useful, especially in times if all right, we have to turn this CD over, right now. You may not have time to get it on the county commission agenda. However, this board previously had made the decision they wanted to take that responsibility and review all of the investment decisions as a board. There is no right or wrong answer on this. It's just what this board would like to do. Would you like to delegate that and then that committee work with the treasury, or would this board like to make those decisions of yes or no, of yes or no as far as that goes? And I think the managers worked with both systems, so I think it'd probably be important to hear from him of what he thinks is best practice.
Chair Martinez, Commissioner Aguilar. So I can give you the background. The investment committee, other past boards have had it and then taken away and then implemented it again. One thing is it's malleable and it's responsive, where without the investment committee, you lose lag time in investment options. And so that can be very costly. I'll give you just an example. The last commission meeting, the commission authorized, or the commission meeting before the last one, the commission authorized to move some funds. That got lagged behind, but still with what we had in the investment that the original investment committee had participated in and then advised the commission. And there's constant advisement to the commission of where we're at and how much we have and how. We made $49,000 in 1 month. Comparatively, in another investment site, we made, I think, $212. Now we had 3 times the amount in the other investment, but if you even took it half and half, you're looking at 400 versus 25,000. So, it's optimizing your money without putting it too much in danger or in any danger really. And then being responsive, because the investment committee looks at daily revenue and debts, and they understand, okay, we need much money in our local bank to meet our debts and our requirements and operational, and we always have a cushion of about 1 or 1.2 million. So we're not putting any of that in harm's way. The last time I had recommended leaving 5 million in the local bank and then doing the rest. We still had 8 million and change in the local bank. So we probably would have received another, probably it would have been probably 56,000 during that month if we would have moved more rapidly. But there was still some fear by some people. So, but it's been done. So we're looking to see what the interest rate is we accrue in January. But the idea is behind it is that you have a sub-entity that is reactive and responsive and takes issues seriously and is investing in a legitimate authorized investment account. With that said, the local bank has reached out to me. They had actually reached out to me 2.5 months ago and said they had a program that was comparable and they were going to have it in a couple weeks. Well, they reached out to me day before yesterday and said they now have that. So if you put the investment committee back, I'll one or two of us will go meet with that person to see how competitive it is. And then if we think it's still in play, because we still like, the investment committee still likes keeping funds locally. We understand the importance of that. But if it's fairly competitive, then we would make a decision and also bring that decision to the commission and saying this is the outcome, or this is the proposed outcome, where do we go?
Okay, so the investment committee was made up of the treasurer, yourself, financial director,
And a commissioner.
commissioner.
Now, the commission chair at one time.
Okay. I would recommend that we reinstall this committee back. And as a commissioner, I would recommend that Commissioner Duggins serve on this committee. Any feelings on the other commissioners or any comments?
I'm all for reinstating the committee. As far as which commissioner, it doesn't matter.
Mr. Chairman, if that's the way, if that's the pleasure of this board, I would suggest that you motion to reinstate the committee as is, because that's just a delegation of authority. And then also with that motion, I will bring back the investment policy to re-implement at the next meeting. You can make the delegation, and then we'll just redo the policy just to be technical, since we did repeal that policy in 2021.
Okay, and Commissioner Duggins.
I'm sorry.
Commissioner Duggins would be on that appointed.
He would be delegated at this point, yes.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Gonzalez. I need a second.
Second.
Commissioner Aguilar, for the treasurer, the manager, financial director, and Commissioner Duggins to be on this investment committee. All in favor of this, I need to signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, then you can move forward with that. Mike and Attorney. Item P, discussion regarding upcoming road projects per commission district. Mike.
I believe, so there was issues about striping and whether we usually place that in our cost analysis when asking for LGRF and TPF. And since I've been here, we always do that. We did identify some additional materials that we had left over from other projects, and striping at Water Canyon has already taken place.
Okay, but for the upcoming projects.
We always, I'm sorry, I thought we were on Water Canyon. So year's projects, I'm sorry, Commissioner, on the year's projects, if the commission wants to start, if you know your roads and you know which ones you want to start discussing about what you would like on your priority list, and then you can give that to us, and then we can go through and do a cost analysis and also identify, because 3 types of roads get funded: SBR, which is school bus, CAP, which is a widely used roads, and then it's called co-op roads. So, and then that's how we separate, then we bring you a list again, and then we submit it to, NMDOT for LGRF funding. So if you'll take your lists and you can start the discussion today, or you can have homework to do and then come back to us, the next meeting, but we really need to start narrowing down which roads you think are in desperate need in your, respective district, and then give us the top 4 or 5. Then we do analysis, and then we come back and say, okay, here we go, we're gonna submit these, and here's what we're gonna ask for. And sometimes, you can submit 5, and 1 from a commission district, and that we'll have to have prioritization even with those. And then NMDOT decides how much money they're gonna give us towards all the projects.
Well, I feel that each commissioner needs to work on this and then submit the projects. That way they have for their areas and present it to the commission at our next meeting.
That would be great, because we are on a timeline.
It would be January 24th.
And then TPF comes out pretty soon as well. LGRF is already out, and with the timeline, well, beginning of March, which will be here quickly.
And with this list, John, I think Arthur knows most of the roads, and you guys can submit them, and he can kind of give you information of what's needed to help you out on that. Also.
Emailing the road in my district and then remind me to read my email.
I believe within your packet,
That's
there's a map also, but if you want specifics, because some of it gets kind of convoluted when it gets real close to everybody's district. So yeah, we actually have roads bladed and stuff and lists for each commissioner. So if you'll give with Art and/or Zarina, she'll have that list for you.
I just have one question. In regards to the 2022 Squirrel County Road maintained maintenance report, I guess, is that his name?
Sorry?
The maintenance report, remember that colored remember how you made it all different colors? So if we could add his name.
Oh, yeah, so I'll make sure that Zarina takes care of it.
Thank you, sir.
So the direction that we're giving the manager, the commissions, that we'll bring our list of roads for the upcoming year's road projects to our next meeting. Yes. Okay, do we need a motion on that? Do we need to vote on it?
Just a direction.
Direction? Yeah. Okay, and item Q has already been answered. The other ones, now we need to go to executive session, correct? Okay, need a motion in the roll call vote to go into executive session to discuss the competitive sale proposals for the senior program RFP and then AAA. Only the matters that will be discussed in closed session will be on this.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez.
Sorry, second.
Second by Commissioner Secretarial. Need a roll call vote to go into executive session.
Commissioner Aguilar,
Yes.
Vice Chair Secretarial,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Chair Martinez.
Yes, ma'am. We are now in executive session.
No.